The roses aren't as pretty, the sun isn't quite as high, the birds don't sing as sweet of a lullaby. The stars seem a little bit faded, the clouds just a little more gray, and it feels like things won't ever be the same. Heaven got another angel tonight. You left this world behind. Heaven got a little better today. It took you away from me. I'm missing you tonight. I'll see you again sometime. Now I'll close my eyes and dream of heaven tonight. The beaches aren't as lovely, the sky isn't quite as blue, still that's sweetened by the memory of you. Rain is a little bit colder, the fire is never quite as warm. Still it seems that heaven isn't all that far. Heaven got another angel tonight. You left this world behind. Heaven got a little better today. It took you away from me. I'm missing you tonight. I'll see you again sometime. For now I'll close my eyes and dream of heaven tonight. Spend a little more time now with the things that mean a little bit more. I'm noticing the wonders of this world. I love with a little more hope now. I live with a little more peace, 'cause I understand how precious life can be. Oh, heaven got another angel tonight. You left this world behind. Heaven got a little better today. Took you away from me. I'm missing you tonight. I'll see you again sometime. For now I'll close my eyes and dream of heaven tonight.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. Hello, everybody. Logan Knowledge and Justice Families with me, and everybody. This is Will. This is Logan's dad. It's Logan's Angelversary. Want to talk a little bit more about that, Charlene?
Sure. We have baby Logan, who had passed away. This is January 7th, 2022. So this is his 1-year Angelversary. This is Will. This is Logan's dad. And we're going to talk a little bit about how CPS had medically kidnapped Logan. CPS claimed Logan, or actually the state is now claiming Logan was never born, which we just showed you the pictures and the process that they had went through, and all of the issues or the feelings that Will has in the last year of everything that has come about to bring us to this day, because his anxiety is building up on there are still no answers. We have no answers of why Logan had passed away. That's where we're at, right, Will?
Yep.
So tell us what you want us to know. Tell us from the beginning. Let's go back from the beginning. Tell us what you want us to know.
Honestly, my main thing is with all this that's going on, like we still ain't heard nothing that happened to him. It's like the law don't give a fuck about what's going on to our kids. As long as they get their money filled with pockets with money and shit, they don't care about nothing. Like poor people like me, we don't have nothing to give anybody to give to go search it all. Like we're supposed to have law enforcement for a reason.
But there
Like
is a sheriff's report. The sheriff is supposed to be investigating this, correct?
exactly, but there's still nobody talking to us. They switched the investigators already twice,
That's a tactic,
which makes no sense when they had the first investigator looking into it.
right?
I mean,
So
being a year, you figure we hear something.
I agree.
I mean, something like even oh we're still looking into it, but but no, they don't give us nothing. Like I texted the sheriff's site on Facebook, and a half hour later I go to jail.
That's a target because you're asking
Like and
questions.
that's just me. I'm all like it's been like 6 7 months now. I'm Logan Dollison's dad. I was just wanting to know what's going on, and I literally send them a message on Facebook. I go down to Kroger's and back, and I get picked up. It's wrong for them not to say nothing. And honestly, for it to be a year for nobody to say anything, I mean, it's getting to the point where what's the point of having the law? I might as well take the law in my own hands and search it all.
Well, you do have lawyers, though. We will say that through this, there is a team that is working with you, which is Epic
Right,
Investigations. You have the paperwork for the research to see if it was uh, poison through the formula, right?
right,
And or anything else that should show up. You also have Wagstaff with that, which is the global lawyers that they are top lawyers in the world. And then you have your local lawyer who had brought the charges through, right? There's
right.
5 charges.
It's just even with all the lawyers that we got, it's still nothing seems like it's being done.
Well, let's talk about
Like
the charges. You have medical kidnap, right?
right,
So the medical,
gross abuse of the corpse.
right?
Uh, Also, you got uh,
Falsifying documents,
falsifying information.
right?
They got uh, medical kidnapping because they didn't give her any documents stating that they were taking a child at the hospital or anything. Um, uh, there was gross abuse of a corpse. There's a oh hell.
Medical
They're
kidnap.
trying to they try to say there was an autopsy done on Logan, which there was, but they said that the findings wasn't in, but the death certificate still already said septic shock.
Right.
We still haven't even gotten the autopsy in yet.
In which you had gotten a report from the foster family on the 5th of January, and he was at the wellness center, right? Is that correct?
He got a weight check on
Right, for
Wednesday.
wellness check, and he was fine, right?
Right.
He was
Thursday
healthy.
Thursday morning around 4:30 or 6:30, he didn't eat one of his bottles. And I was like, well, after 4 hours of baby not eating, why didn't you take the baby to the hospital?
Right.
We didn't get a phone call until fucking about 10 minutes to a half hour to our appointment for visitation. They called and said, well, they couldn't make it in because they had to go to the hospital. Well, we didn't find out later on until about 6:30 that afternoon about him being in ICU
And how did you find out?
through the foster parent,
And how was that? Did you get a
through a
phone
text
call?
message.
Text message.
Everything's been through a text message, even from the caseworker.
Wow.
Said that we'll get you up there the next day, but he
I love
ended
how
up passing
CPS is
away.
like, no, we don't text people. We call them or email them.
Well, they came out in the
That's a
reports.
text.
Right.
They
Have
gave
them.
us a text.
That's how we managed to save everything. And they tried to erase it, right? Well, on their end.
Yep.
They tried to say it
Well,
didn't
they tried.
exist.
They tried. But like I told him, I said, there's 6 other people that has this information other than me.
Right.
I said, do what you guys want to do. I mean, dump my phone. I don't give a fuck. But
Right.
there's 6 other people that's got this information.
Correct. And then you
I
met with
kept it for a
reporters.
reason.
You met with reporters. Oh,
Yeah,
let's go. Hold on. So when you made the phone call to the funeral parlor, CPS was upset about that, right? They didn't want
Yeah.
you to? What happened?
No. Well, that's because he lost him for 21 days.
Oh, so that's where
And then
you
and on top of all that, they sat there and said anything your wishes for Logan's funeral, we'll pay for. We didn't even get fucking flowers for them.
right.
They didn't want to pay for the tombstone. They didn't want to pay for nothing. They paid for the burial plot and the funeral cost. That was it.
Right. Now I
But they
know
didn't.
that not to cut you off, but I know that for a fact because our people, including Doc, had kicked in. We got a little group together to put together what everybody had seen on the grave, and we're going to let you know that we had done this temporary, real quick for them to just have something to represent what we're here for, and that's justice for Logan, and that's why he's little Batman, right? Will, your little justice fighter,
Right.
right? And we're not giving up, right?
Hell no.
No. So what happened was the people had come together, did a quick little throw in. Everything was sent directly to the family, and Will and his family had went out and set everything up for Logan, as CPS denied the funds for anything for Logan for his gravesite.
Right.
Yes.
They were also
And
mad because the extra plots that they had to pay for was they paid for a lot, which was 6 of them. They only wanted to pay for a half a lot.
right.
They had to pay for 6 burials anyways, because that's what and then they wrote it out in our name instead of theirs.
Right. So where are we at today? So today is Logan's Angelversary, and so this whole year has been ups and downs for you and Lindsay, and you're in the anger stage of the fight mode in this grieving process right now, right?
Yep. Like I'm done with the bullshit.
I'm gonna show you the song, and we put together a little video. Can we bring that through, Doc?
Which one is it?
This is the second one, Logan Dulles and Justice Family.
Let me know about the right one. The right one.
I've been walking
Wrong one, Doc.
Wrong.
heartache.
Sorry. I'm on my laptop, so
Okay.
let me remove this one and put this one. This one.
Y'all was coming in, and now you're backing out. It's hard to talk big with a shotgun in your mouth. I'm glad you brought your friends. They can watch it go down. Watch it go down. I got mine too. So welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. 'Cause these are my people, and this is my land. This is my land. This is what we pray for, and this is God's plan. This is God's plan. And if you ain't from here, then you won't understand. You won't understand. This is my country. This is who I am. This is who I am. So welcome to my house. So welcome to my house. I'm a stand-up mind. You better believe it, 'cause today won't be your day. I can guarantee it, you should turn and walk away and get to leaving. Oh, I'll let this 12 gauge do all my speaking. Don't push me on the edge, boy. Don't push me on the edge, boy. 'Cause I'm aiming for your head, boy. 'Cause I'm aiming for your head, boy. And all I see is red, boy. And all I see is red, boy. I told you not to cross that line. I told you not to cross that line. I'm giving you a chance, boy. I'm giving you a chance, you see boy. The devil in a glance, boy. The devil in a glance, I can knock you out your pants, boy. Knock you out your pants, boy. I told you not to fuck with mine. I told you not to fuck with mine. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Y'all was coming in, and now you're backing out. Now you're backing out. It's hard to talk big with a shotgun in your mouth. Shotgun in your mouth. I'm glad you brought your friends. They can watch it go down. Watch it go down. I got mine too. So welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. 'Cause these are my people, and this is my land. This is my land. This is what we pray for, and this is God's plan. This is God's plan. And if you ain't from here, then you won't understand. You won't understand. This is my country. This is who I am. This is who I am. So welcome to my house. So welcome to my house.
So there we have it. That is Will's expressions for today. Is that about right, Will?
Yep.
And I would say there
It's time
weren't
for them
two.
to answer.
Say it again.
It's time for them to answer. I'm
Justin.
done fucking waiting on them. I'm done waiting on everybody else to fucking be ready. I'm done. Waited for a year. It's long enough.
Now, we do know that you've been with several news reporting agencies that had taken on the story from the beginning, which is very hard to get with a CPS case of a child passing. But because you all had the evidence to prove what you were saying and how this went down, they accepted it, correct?
Yep.
And so the contacting agents that you had back then, I believe that Lindsay is contacting on Monday to do a year review to get it back out so that, Ohio knows what nobody is forgetting, right?
Right.
Is there anything that you could tell parents that are going through something like this besides yourself on anything that you feel that changes need to be made? Anything?
Honestly, they need to get their paperwork in order. Like CPS needs to make sure they got their shit together and names right on their paperwork because, like I said, my name was done wrong in the first set, and now they're acting like I don't exist.
Well, they acted like Logan doesn't exist either, right? Does he have a birth
Exactly.
certificate? Could they
They're
find?
acting, they're trying to play it off as he don't. It didn't even fucking come born or anything. Like he's a figment of our imagination, and that's not
Right,
true.
right, and that this never happened either, and then till they realized that you had all the evidence, correct?
Right.
Including the pictures and the text messages?
Yep.
Right. And they were given by the foster parent, not by CPS, correct?
Exactly.
Right.
How have you felt like fighting? Do you feel like this is something worth fighting for?
Oh, definitely. Any kid taken by CPS is worth fighting for as long as the parents worthy enough to fucking take care of their children. I mean, I had no problems taking care of my kid. The only problems I had was with the CPS itself. They made me give kids medication that they don't even really need. But when I take a medication away, try to be a parent like I'm supposed to, they do a drug test and take kids over nothing, even though it's their drugs that was causing all this problem.
It's part of their
I was at the
system.
agency and they pointed and sat there and said it was my fault the kids had methamphetamines in the system and shit. Like I told him, I said, no, that was your guys' medication because he's too hyper for you guys in school. I said Adderall and Vyvances all pull off the same thing.
That's right.
Amphetamine and methamphetamine and methamphetamine. That's when you take a kid off of it, of course he's going to have a withdrawal off of it. Like it comes up with the same ingredients. Just taking all that and then dealing with my son being taken over no paperwork, like none, until we go to the courthouse. Like it's not even supposed to be like that. They're supposed to give you that kind of paperwork right then and there.
Not only that, but there were no findings either because Logan's system was absolutely clean, correct?
Yeah,
Nothing in his system.
nothing.
Right. So there's no worry.
It was wait a minute. It was caffeine and no prenatal.
Well, having no prenatal care is not against the law.
I know. Like if I lived in the Amish country, they wouldn't even bother me.
And some people have midwives also.
Exactly.
Saying natural ways. But and we know that's all in the paperwork with the attorneys, and that you've all verified everything, or you wouldn't have the attorneys that you have from the beginning on this, and that it's a very powerful case for Ohio. I understand the frustration of the year being with you guys, that the communication with the lawyers is very scarce, but in the long run, I think it may be for a good reason. Uh, and we'll have to point out too, the CPS canceled court twice. That's you're calling them in twice. Canceled, right?
Right. Right.
So they delayed twice already for
Yep.
fact findings of what you had. And also, I'll bring this up. In the beginning, they said Logan didn't exist. Even the lawyer had a hard time finding Logan in the system, correct?
Right.
So then you had to sign paperwork that said that yous are for Logan's estate, correct?
Yeah.
Logan's
We're
estate.
supposed to be signing that paperwork. We haven't got a chance to.
No, then you have the second paperwork that's federal estate on Logan's name. Right?
Right.
Right. So there's two sets. The
Right.
first set's already in. The second set that you just received is federal. That's a higher level. So that means that your lawyer is working in the right direction. Just so you know that we've been, with the way that the paperwork is coming in and the way it gets filled out and how it has to transfer. Unfortunately, the system's not as fast for us as it is for them. Does that make sense?
Right.
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 They can move quick on you with unlimited resources, right? Unlimited resources, unlimited money. But then when you go back, then we have an issue because now everything is slowed down. They don't have the manpower. They don't have this. They don't have that, which is totally, they're not being held accountable at this point. There's a lot of players
That's
in there
bullshit.
that have to be held accountable.
Like, it's bullshit that they're wanting to use, oh, well, because he ain't got money. Like I said, if you got money, you got it made. Poor people like me, I'm gonna stay here for at least another half year to a year before I find out anything. Just like I said in the first clip to fucking see Channel 4, I'm guilty until proven innocent. So I'd be stuck in jail until I can prove that I did not do nothing to my son. Period. Point blank.
It's a backwards system. Hopefully we can make some changes with that. But you are one of the lucky ones that does have a law group that did surround you at this point, though. That you have to, look at and keep that in your head. That you are surrounded by a very good team. How they're operating and not communicating, that's a whole something that they have to work on, and that would be a solution. So on Monday, we'll see if we can get those solutions, started.
Right.
Something, just communicate something. That's what you're asking for. Not much,
Pretty much.
just something.
I mean, it'd be nice to know something that happened or something that's going on.
I feel too, it's easier for them to not really have answers or make progress because CPS is out here trying to like change the story and like edit things to fit a specific timeline, and so like it makes it harder for the attorneys because they have to go back and do work, and that's CPS trying to like stall it even longer.
Right.
Tactics. Well, we know that this has also been a lot of stress on your relationship. And losing a child would put a strain on a relationship. It puts a strain on your mental status. How can you help other parents understand this?
Honestly, I'm not too.
Uh-oh.
Nope. Well, you can rejoin.
Hopefully we can get him back.
Yeah. Because the connection was good this time. So.
Drop him the link again.
You want me to send it, or do you have it still?
I have it. Hold on, I just gotta go get it.
Okay. You know what's crazy to me is he's talking about like how CPS took Logan because he was born at home, not in a hospital. You know how many people I know who had home births because they didn't want to have them in a hospital? Well, she left. You're back. She left. I don't know where Charlene went.
So,
It's okay. She probably just is Charlene and is freaking out and just trying to make sure that you were able to get it. But you did.
yeah, I hit a button.
Oh, that's all right. You're
Oh,
fine.
you're good. Who you texting?
There she is.
I went to get him and I jumped out.
Yeah, I was
Sorry
like,
about
he
that.
came back and I was like, oh, she'll be back. She'll be back. I'm like, Charlene is Charlene. She's like freaking out probably.
I went to get him and I ended up jumping out. I'm like, yeah, that was great.
I was
And
just like waiting here. I'm like, somebody will come back.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of who comes back first.
But yeah, like the only thing I say about this whole thing is it's been stressful.
Is what?
Like
It's been
it
stressful.
puts a lot of stress on everything.
It does. On your relationship too. And I know that, from being with you guys and but it's not uncommon. It's not just you guys,
Oh, I
you
know.
have to understand that.
I was telling Charlene that, like, for me, when you're talking about how CPS took Logan because he was born at home, I can't even begin to tell you how many people I know who have had like home births or like haven't had like actual like prenatal stuff. And so to me, like that it blows my mind.
Not only that, but it was during COVID, which everything was scarce. People forget that during that time of COVID, there was a lot of restrictions, right? We can't let that escape either. Also, at the time that Logan was born, that on this day, as a matter of fact, you had a code put in place where they couldn't travel, right? Well,
Right.
there was a code which Ohio had put in place because people were saying, why couldn't they make it to the hospital? Well, there was codes put in place because of the storm, right? Plus, there
Yeah.
was codes put in place for COVID. So therefore, there were a lot of restrictions, and they didn't have a vehicle that was running. So but CPS did not offer to come and get them. They didn't send a police officer to come and get them to be at the hospital, in which they did not lose parental rights. They only lost custody. They did not lose say. Okay. They had all say in Logan's medical procedures, and they had a right to be there, and they did not get granted that or escorted there for those reasons, and they should have been. And that's where the worker dropped the ball, right, Will?
Well, yeah, that and then even the following day we were supposed to go identify him. We didn't even get to do that. I mean, how is that even legal?
Right. When did you get
Like,
to identify him?
we didn't get to identify him until he got to the funeral home. And that was
And that was
21 days after we located him and shit. From
right.
he was in Montgomery County.
They found him on the 19th, and
But yeah, we didn't have his funeral until the 22nd
Right.
or the 21st. The 21st is when we had his funeral, but that was 21 days without him being embalmed or anything. So we really couldn't tell if it was exactly him because he was so dried out and everything.
Right. So do you think in process with what's going on now that they were talking about exhuming him?
Yeah, they were talking about not doing anything besides putting him in the ground, but we did ask the lawyer to do an autopsy and a DNA to make
So now
sure it was Logan.
Right. So now they'll exhume him, correct? Because
Yeah.
that's in the name of Logan federally. That's the paperwork that you'll be signing for his estate, right?
Right. Right.
That's a process too. And the now I know the funeral parlor had written in and by your request that Logan had died in the hands of CPS. That's in his
Yes.
obituary, correct?
Yes,
By the
ma'am.
state. of Ohio.
That's what I was trying to-
Right. Which is very good. You know, to have that and
Right.
to have to do that, because that's also a process that's highly unknown or out of character for them to do. So obviously he knew something. Did he express to you that something wasn't right?
Yes, he even told us about the death certificate. Didn't seem right either.
Right. That was awesome.
Because we went
There were
in with
people
the
looking out for you.
photocopy of the death certificate. Oh, I know.
We also wrote out the timeline.
But he also paid for our actual death certificate. So CPS didn't really know that we got an actual death certificate, that we only got a photocopy.
That was awesome.
When they called and
Like he kept everything in documented form, like from us calling and them calling until we could locate him.
Right. I know during that process too, it was the name, because he went in as Dolison, but then the birth certificate or he went in as Lindsay's last name. I'm sorry. He went in as Lindsay's last name and the birth certificate switched him over to Dolison, correct?
Right.
So he did two different last names, but they still couldn't locate him by his wristband at the hospital. Just speaking of Lindsay, I hear her in the background. Let's play Lindsay's video there.
Is
Doc.
that the one you all?
Yeah, I
you
just
added when
brought
you
it
came
in. Yeah, this
Okay.
is this is Logan's mom's song to Logan today, and this is her feelings. There it is.
I've been a walking heartache, I've made a mess of me. The person that I've been lately ain't who I wanna be. But you stay here right beside me and watch as the storm blows through, and I need you. 'Cause God gave me you for the ups and downs. God gave me you for the days of doubt, and for when I think I lost my way, there are no words here left to say it's true. God gave me you, gave me you. More here than what we're seeing, a divine conspiracy. That you, an angel lovely, could somehow fall for me. You'll always be love's great martyr, and I'll be the flattered fool, and I need you. Yeah, God gave me you for the ups and downs. God gave me you for the days of doubt, and for when I think I lost my way, there are no words here left to say it's true. God gave me you. On my own I'm only half of what I could be. I can't do without you. We are stitched together, and what love has tethered, I pray we never undo. 'Cause God gave me you for the ups and downs. God gave me you for the days of doubt. God gave me you for the ups and downs. God gave me you for the days of doubt, and for when I think I lost my way, there are no words here left to say it's true. God gave
So, Will, as you know, we call Logan Little Batman, and he's your little justice fighter, and that was Daddy who named him, correct?
Yes,
Daddy
ma'am.
called him Little Batman. We said, give us a name for your little justice fighter, and Will said, he's Batman. So he is Batman, and we are still out here fighting for justice for Logan. We didn't give up. We're not giving in. As you see, the parents are getting stronger in their fight. Monday, it's on. You know, when we say that we don't give up, it's their strength that's helping everybody's child, or any parent that had to go through this through CPS. They're weak. They do have their own weaknesses, and they admit it that they have good and bad days. But hopefully, we can get this fight through for everyone, right, Will?
Yep.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Nothing really.
You want to
Will,
add anything, Lindsay?
Is Lindsay there? Lynn,
Yeah. She's right here.
do you have anything you want to say?
No.
No, she don't have nothing really to say.
Okay. Our hearts go out to you guys today and every day. And you know that we're still fighting this good fight for Logan. And, we love you guys, and stay strong. Okay?
All right.
What pisses me off?
Thanks for being here, Will.
Thanks,
You're
Will.
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
You guys have a good one.
You too.
I go out to the cemetery. Everything that we put out there is still been out there.